versus Japan. The teams are just about to make their way out onto the pitch. So let's settle in and enjoy this one with our commentary team, Billy Dodds, Willie Miller and Alistair Lamont.
Thanks very much, Andy. It is good to be back 4 months on from that most dramatic of nights against the Danes, and now 77 days out from the World Cup opener against Haiti. My goodness, does it feel good to be looking ahead to that. The build-up begins here. The team's making their way out of the Hampden Tunnel onto the pitch here at the National Stadium. The sun trying its best to make its way back out. We've had 4 seasons in one day, as is typical here in the south side of Glasgow. Feels more wintry than spring-like, it has to be said. Hailstones were seen earlier on, but it's dry for the moment. The pitch looks good, that's for sure. And here are the national anthems. Hampden in good voice ahead of this friendly against Japan. Good contingent of Japanese fans have made their way to Hampden, and lots of media as well. Huge interest in this Japanese national team as they pay their first visit to Scotland. Only 3 times have we played against Japan previously. All 3 have been on Japanese soil. And no wins, no goals for Scotland actually in those 3 meetings. A defeat the last time they played under George Burley back in 2009, and a couple of draws prior to that, goalless ones, albeit one of them did clinch the Keirin Cup, which still is fondly remembered by those involved. And Scotland's record generally in friendlies is nothing short of dreadful. A decade tomorrow since the last one here against Denmark of all teams. 3 draws and 6 defeats since then. The Scotland captain Andy Robertson has made his way to the halfway line, and Daizen Maeda is captaining the Japanese, and he's just jogging his way to meet his counterpart, and the match officials right now to exchange pennants and go through the coin toss, etc., before we can get ourselves underway for what should be a pretty even contest, looking at the two sides. Both sides somewhat experimental, as you would expect in the lead up to a major competition. Steve Clarke, as he said, wants to look at 2 or 3 players who are on the periphery, if you like, of the setup, looking to clinch a place in his final squad before they head off to the USA. The match officials just completing their checks, and the match referee making his way to the centre circle. And looks like Scotland will go from left to right as we look at it, from the top tier of this main stand, a top tier that was literally bouncing 4 months ago when that Kenny McLean goal went in particular. I was hopeful that the engineers had done their job correctly in the construction of Hampden, because there was a lot of movement in this top tier. So the referee is Sean Evans of Australia, who is ready to get us underway. It will be the Japanese to kick us off here, and we are up and running. There's Japan in white tops, black shorts and white socks. Got us underway. Scotland have got a new change, gets an early clash of heads here, which has got John McGinn down, and one of the Japanese players as well. A nasty one on a cold day, and a stoppage here for both players to be treated. Hopefully there'll be both players will be able to continue, but it was a nasty one so early on, will it?
It was enthusiastic, wasn't it, for John McGinn? I think it was Tanaka that he's went into the back of there. Purely accidental, by the way. He's just trying to win possession, and his forehead went into the back of the Japanese player's forehead. But they both look a little bit hurt, a little bit dazed, but I think they'll be okay to carry on.
Yeah, John McGinn just offering an apology almost there to Tanaka of Leeds United, who I'm sure he's well acquainted with their respective times in the English Premier League. But it will be a free kick to Japan as a result of that, and it's taken forward down the left-hand side by Hiroki Ito of Bayern Munich. They've got some players playing at a very high level. John McGinn back in the field of play, winning his side a throw-in on this near side. The right-hand flank for the Scots as Nathan Patterson gets his first touch of the ball, throwing it back to Jack Hendry and back into the 6-yard box to Angus Gunn, who will no doubt want an early feel of the ball as Andy Robertson clips it up towards Lyndon Dykes, just giving the nod up front. John McGinn playing pretty high on the right, and Conway over on the left-hand side. Looks pretty much like that 4-2-3-1 that Steve Clarke hinted at off mic early on, as Japan pick up once more. But I think is that the shape that Scotland have gone with, Billy?
Certainly is, Alistair. I mean, Conway out on that left-hand side just confirmed that. McTominay will just play off of Lyndon Dykes. We've seen him, we've talked at the start of the programme about how he just hits the box and goes and supports him. So yeah, it's a formation that's pretty solid, but they're obviously going to be a threat to Japan as well.
Japan trying to come forward, but no way through for them. A good solid challenge there by McKenna, and it's back to Jack Hendry, and then out to Andy Robertson. Slides it forward to McTominay on the left-hand side, still inside his own half. Robertson once more tries to play that into the chest there to McLean, who brings it under control, and back to McTominay, who lays it back to the edge of the 18-yard box to Hendry once more. McKenna takes possession of the ball and plays it back to Gunn. Japan looking to try and keep Scotland hemmed in to their own territory here, as Gunn clips that one just over the halfway line. Looks like John McGinn will go and try and win that, loses out, but it comes back to Patterson, who just turns it back to Hendry once more, and now it's McKenna. Plays it square once more to Hendry. Scotland staying patient at the back for the moment as Hendry plays it into McLean, and then the ball forwards from Lewis Ferguson back to Dykes, and then McLean forced to battle in there and losing out, but the referee spots an infringement as an ambitious effort from Goto, as Angus Gunn had to backpedal, but the free kick had already been given. Early stages here, 4 minutes in, Scotland 0, Japan 0.
It's quite lively, isn't it? I think you know the way Japan play is quite a high tempo. You know, front foot, as Steve Clark said. They enjoy putting the opposition under pressure, so you're not going to get too much time on the ball, I wouldn't imagine. So as far as Scotland's concerned, they'll have to make their mind up early, you know, and make sure they're passing that ball pretty sharply.
It's Japan though making the early running here. The ball played into the box, and it comes to Maeda, who didn't connect at all well. Fortunately for Scotland, Nathan Patterson just gave him half a yard there, but he rather splashed the shot straight at Angus Gunn, and it remains 0-0. But that was a half chance, you would have to say. Daizen Maeda maybe in his sharper moments might have got that early goal, Billy.
Yeah, we're also talking to Andy at the start of the programme about that. I mean, he's not at his best, but you can see he's still a threat. It was just a ball flung into the box, really. Sano miskicked it, and it came to Maeda, and he had a swipe at it as well, and if he'd caught it flush, it might have caused Scotland some problems.
Back with Suzuki, the Japanese goalkeeper, plays out from the back over on the right hand side now, and Sugawara plays it back to Suzuki, who plies his trade in Serie A with Parma. They're brought forward by Tanaka of Leeds United, and Watanabe, the Pioneer centre back, plays it to his right hand side to Seko. Here's Watanabe once more, and Tanaka, who is coming deep to pick up possession and try and start the Japanese attacks. Back once more to Watanabe, and to his right Seko of Le Havre plays it forward down that right hand side, but too much on it there for Sugawara to reach, and so it's out for a throw into Scotland. Almost 6 minutes in the clock, no goals as yet, as Andy Robertson on that 91st cap going level with Jim Leighton. That throws it into McLean. It's not forward, but again Japan pick up, enjoying the lion's share of early possession here at Hampden. Knocked back once more to Zion Suzuki, winning his 22nd cap after missing the November friendlies with a broken hand. It's his first appearance since the 3-2 victory over Brazil. He goes long this time, looking for Goto, who's through the middle, but McKenna beats him in the air and heads it forward to Ferguson. Now it's picked up by McGinn right hand side, and back with Patterson. Patterson plays it into the feet of Ferguson, still about 20 yards inside his own half. Comes off Tanaka out for a throw-in, looked to come off the arm, but he's fired that from close range, so it is just a throw-in taken by Patterson back to Hendry, and into Angus Gunn once more, who's played just the once for Nottingham Forest in the English Premier League. Came on as a sub against Crystal Palace at the start of February, but hasn't featured since, as Lyndon Dykes is pushed in the air there by Watanabe, and Scotland get the free kick more or less on the halfway line. The guys were talking pre-match about the conundrum that Scotland do face in terms of picking a goalkeeper with those who you might consider to be your first choice, short of first team action at club level. As Patterson plays it forward, it's not a bad looking ball actually, as Dykes just gives his marker a little shove and gets onto the ball at the edge of the box, but can't get beyond Watanabe, who recovers comfortably. Dykes is still keeping him under pressure though, and it breaks from again almost in the byline, teases it into the box. A good ball. How is that kept out? What a save by the goalkeeper to deny McTominay, who stabbed it goalwards, and somehow the keeper pushes it onto the post, and it doesn't bounce into the net, it bounces away to safety. So close to the Scotland opener. 8 minutes in though, it's Scotland 0, Japan 0.
You just think that's got to end up in the back of the net. You know, what an opportunity. You know, initially from Dykes, working really hard, to win back possession after giving it away. Then John McGinn hitting the byline and cutting it back across the face. Huge gap there for McTominay, and you think it's got to end up in the back of the net, but it is a fabulous save, isn't it, from Suzuki in goal. It's instinctive. Throws his left hand up, manages to get, a good hand on it, and it comes off the left hand post as well. It's quite an incredible chance, and how it didn't end up in the back of the net, I do not know.
Yeah, Dykes did ever so well. He gave up the opportunity, then got it back, played it into John McGinn. It was a lovely little pick out, and he is human, isn't he? Because I think he should score any angle on it at all. Take nothing away from the goalkeeper. It's a really good save, but I think if he sclaffs it, any angle on it, probably it's a goal.
Gives a chance at the other end. It's Maida to the left hand side of the box, boos around Hamden as he wins the corner for his side off Patterson. Japan looking to respond to that really good Scotland opportunity, and certainly by Scott McTominay's standards, yes, you would say he should score. Didn't do an awful lot wrong, perhaps just caught it too cleanly, as Willie's hinting at, and the keeper makes a terrific save as Japan take the short corner, and it's worked to the edge of the box, and that's a tester for Angus Gunn, but he holds it at the second attempt. It was more or less straight at him from Fujita, but he struck it well from about 25 yards, and Angus Gunn got a couple of goals at it and kept it out the back of the net. So plenty of action in the opening 10 minutes, no goals as yet, but tests for either goalkeeper, which they've passed.
I think Gunn was fortunate it was straight at him, because it was struck with a lot of power, wasn't it, from Fujita, from what, maybe 22 yards, something like that. He really got an awful lot of power, but Angus Gunn shot all the way. Took him a couple of opportunities, right enough, to get to the ball safely in his grasp.
Scotland have it at the back. Patterson tries to play it forward, but breaks the way of the aforementioned Fujita. Plays for St. Pauli in the Bundesliga. Started all but two in the German top tier this season. As Maida is beaten to that by Patterson, sliding in. Is a big afternoon for Nathan Patterson, who, through a result of injury mainly, but also just form as well, perhaps hasn't seen a lot of football for Everton. The ball played back to Suzuki, closed down there by Conway, and just manages to get it away before the Middlesbrough forward can close him down. It's a quickly taken throw in by the Scots over on the far side. Back to McLean it comes now. McTominay, left hand side, does well to get that to Robertson. Back it comes to McLean once more. I think there's a few cries of shoot around the stadium. McTominay instead. McLean glides through a couple of challenges, tried to link with one of his teammates, doesn't quite come off, and it's behind for a goal kick. We've played 11.5 minutes here, and it's been an interesting game so far. Plenty happening out there, but no goals as yet between Scotland and Japan. Live here on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland.
It's been pretty lively, isn't it? I think pretty even as well. I wouldn't put too much between the sides, other than that fabulous opportunity for Scott McTominay, and one that will be ruined because he should have scored with it.
There's Japan coming forward again. It's good work from Conway, though, working back the way to get something on the ball. Robertson's clearance is charged down, but he'll get another go at it and just lofts it up towards Lyndon Dykes, who can't bring it under control under pretty significant pressure, and it will break for Seko. Now it's Tanaka. Everything seems to go through the Leeds United midfielder for Japan at the moment. Breaks the way of Robertson now. McTominay quickly closed down though, but strong enough to hold on to possession and play it out to Patterson, right hand side. He tucks it back to Jack Hendry, who just outside his own penalty area plays it to Scott McKenna. Now it's Robertson into the feet of Ferguson, back once more to McKenna, who by all accounts is having a terrific season out in Croatia with Dinamo Zagreb. Looks like they're going to clinch another title as Dykes tries to lay that off to McGinn. Doesn't come off, but Scotland work hard to win it back, and Hendry just plays that back to Angus Gunn at the edge of his area. 13 in, no goals. And here is McKenna, having left Las Palmas last summer out in Gran Canaria. He's getting about the place, playing a lot of football, and back in the Scotland starting 11 As Gunn plays that over the top of Dykes and all the way through to Suzuki, who comes out of his area and plays it out to the right-hand side to Sugawara. Back into Ayumuseko, the right-hand side of the three centre-backs, although it's kind of a lopsided three, isn't it, with Ito here now in possession on the left-hand side, almost playing in a left-back position. As Scotland win it back, it's loose play in the middle of the park. Scotland claim for a handball and they get it. Free kick just inside the Japan half. In fact, when they're out of possession, if you look at it just now, Billy, it's actually more like a 4. Japan, I mean, certainly when all the research I've done looks like they play a back 3, but it looks more like a 4 at the moment, doesn't it?
It turns into a 5. It's what the side of the ball, the left wing back will jump, and that's Maeda. That's why then they'll roll round to a 4 at times. That's just the way it happens. Out of possession, ball side, who jumps round to a 4, make it more solid. I've noticed when the goalkeeper gets it, Angus Gunn, if he can get a bit of quality, McGinn pushes up, Conway pushes up, Lyndon Dykes here. Any flick-ons, they go man for man as well, so it's maybe a trait or a way out for Scotland where if they can ping up some quality, Lyndon Dykes can win a flick, they could get themselves through and goal.
Here's Hendry. Scotland having a lot of the ball in their own half, not so much in the Japanese final third, certainly, as McGinn plays it back to McKenna. Japan well organised, certainly. They haven't got to 19 in the world by fluke. As McGinn has it, he's in a very deep area. He's taken a little chance, tries to spin away from Fujita. Manages to do so successfully and plays it back to McKenna. Out to the left-hand side. And back into Hendry. Still midway inside the Scotland half, but then McGinn plays a little ball around the corner for Patterson, who's given that straight away. It's a poor ball, perhaps a sign of his rustiness, and here come Japan looking to capitalise on that. Suzuki over on the right-hand side plays it back in field for Fujita. It's not a bad ball forward, but it's really poor control there. As Japan tried to bring it forward, it was Ito who found himself in an advanced position and just lost the run of the ball completely and allows it to go behind for a Scotland goal kick. We've played just over the quarter hour now, still no goals.
He's looking a little bit rusty, I think, Nathan Patterson. It's a couple of occasions that he's given possession away, and you know, it's not possession where he's under pressure, really. It's possession that he should make sure he's finding whatever colour of jersey that Scotland are playing in tonight. That's
given straight to Dykes by Ito, but he's recovered to get the ball back. The Bayern Munich centre half played against Celtic in last season's Champions League. That was his Bayern debut, actually, having missed the start of last season and indeed the start of this season with a broken metatarsal. But hoping to stay fit for the World Cup, of course. As Scotland pick up possession here, left-hand side, it's Sandy Robertson. They are slightly struggling to make inroads into the Japan half. Here's McTominay about 10 yards inside his own half, playing it into McLean. Is that as a result of this, the pressing of the Japanese that we were hearing about, the front foot football that they like to play?
Well, they're not getting much time in the ball, are they, Scotland? You know, there is quite a fast and high press that Japan play. But once you get into a little bit of a rhythm, they've managed to slip the ball about quite positively, I think, Scotland.
So trying to do so now, but it's a stray pass from Robertson as they do venture forward. And it's back with Zion Suzuki in the Japan goal, just at the edge of his 6-yard box. Bit of a hush round Hampden, almost as if this was a hugely meaningful and tense game, but it's looking pretty full now in the National Stadium. Certainly in excess of 40,000 tickets had been sold by yesterday, and the Titan Army certainly getting behind the team in numbers, and I'm sure tens of thousands will make their way across to the USA in the summer, despite the cost. Here's Japan coming forward at the edge of the Scotland area. It's not a great cross from the right hand side, though, straight behind, and it will be a Scotland goal kick. 18 minutes in, No goals as yet, and some early excitement, but it's rather dissipated in the last few minutes.
Yeah, you can see they knock it about, as Willie's saying. They're comfortable in possession as well. They have this high press, as you were talking about, Al. So doing your homework has worked, and then they leave that 3 for 3 I'm talking about. So any quality struck up, and if they can get runners off, maybe Conway with pace, especially getting high, just in case Lyndon Dykes wins a flick or two, would be a good way forward for Scotland. Don't want to play long all the time, but it's certainly on.
Dyson Maeda plays it into Tanaka. Now Watanabe for Seko. Out to the right hand side it goes for Sugawara. Japan certainly having the better of the territory so far in the game, as Suzuki plays it back into Tanaka. Scotland all behind the ball right now, including Lyndon Dykes, as Japan try and find a way through them. Almost 20 minutes on the clock. Clipped forward there by Ito, picked up by Maeda, and then Patterson gets the challenge in, knocks it out for another Japan corner. An opportunity here.
It's good movement from Maeda. We always talk about his hard work. He's still got that little where if there's no pressure on the ball, he just shows to it and then darts Willie, and then you're doing the movement as a speaker and just dips in behind with the left shoulder and gets there, and Patterson does pretty well to knock it for the corner.
To be taken by Kodai Sano, the left-sided player. Swings it to the back post, not a bad ball. I think it was McKenna got his head to it. Not entirely clear those. Japan look to keep it alive. Scotland work it out to McGinn, and now it's picked up by McKenna, who just settles with knocking the ball over the halfway line, and Dykes will go and chase that down, as will Conway. It's back to Suzuki in the Japan goal, and they've pretty comfortably played out. And it's back with Suzuki once again. Scotland just slightly off the pace at this stage. Japan making the early running. And here they are once more, picking up with Goto dropping off from his striker position, just caught there by Ferguson, who I think has hurt himself in the process of making that foul. Free kick's taken short. It's out to the left hand side to Maeda, who's no stranger to Hampden for sure. Back with Tanaka, just inside his own half. Brought forward there by Watanabe, and then Ito, and then Tanaka again dropping back into almost into the back three. Plays it out to the right hand side for Seko. Picked up by Suzuki, and back once more with Tanaka. Japan certainly having more possession in these early stages. Almost at the midway point already of this first half, as Tanaka has it just inside the centre circle, out to his right hand side. Seko's pressed there by Conway. Again, Japan able to keep a hold of the ball as Fujita gets out to the right hand side to Suzuki. Coming in off that right flank is Sugawara, and then Seko once more plays it forward on the right hand side. Japan looking to try and build something here, but no way through on that occasion, as McTominay plays it back to Kenny McLean, midway inside his own half, looking for options. Just rolls it back to Scott McKenna at the edge of his own penalty area. His pass was intended for Jack Hendry, it was slightly overhit and off target, but Patterson picks up possession, and it's played forward now for Dykes on the right hand side. Can't keep the ball though, too easy for Japan to win it back, and Scotland making life overly difficult for themselves just at the moment.
You feel that they're going to have to use that longer one up to Lyndon Dykes, but he's got to give you secure possession up there, you know, and hold on to it, and you know, bring some of his teammates in. A couple of occasions that you know, he's been disappointed in the quality of hold-up play, because they're under pressure, and it's really difficult to string the passes together the way Japan are playing, and the pressure that they're putting on the Scotland team.
Patterson gets really lucky there. He missed an attempted interception. Maeda was in behind, but unfortunately for him, he couldn't bring it under control, and it ricocheted back to Patterson. But yeah, he doesn't look entirely comfortable out there, Maida. On another day, might have been away and through on goal. Tom had said pre-match, Billy, he wanted to see this Scotland side taking the game to Japan. It's not really happened, does it?
Not yet. I mean, Japan have shown they're comfortable in possession. They're going to have to, Patterson especially, he's got to have to realise, and Willie used to do it all the time, where no pressure on the ball, a bit of depth, because as soon as there's no pressure, they can pick out a pass, and he's trying to get tight with Maeda, and he's just dipping that shoulder again and leaving him for dead. And he's lucky he missed the connection, and it hit off Maida's heel, and Maeda was through and goal on the left hand side, and a really good opportunity. But it's one he's got to realise, a young fullback, just make sure it's not all about getting tight all the time. Look up, the centre half or the left side of the centre half, or even a left midfielder, there's no pressure on him, give a bit of depth.
It's back in the Japanese penalty area, not for long though. Played forward up to Goto. McKenna wins the header, and it came back off Goto, out for a Scotland throw in left hand side, quickly taken into McTominay. Just rolls it back to Robertson, and then in turn for McKenna, but 20 yards inside his own half, plays it square to Hendry. Hendry now for Ferguson. McGinn on the halfway line tries to spin away from his marker. Now McKenna once more. Andy Robertson going high, but it's played into Dykes, and Conway back to Robertson just inside his own half. McKenna square once more and gets it back from Hendry. It's going to go back to Hendry again, just outside his own penalty area now. Scotland going back further and further, and now it's gone back to Gunn, and now it's played out to the left hand side to Kenny McLean, who's back in the left back position, and he clips it forward over the halfway line, but no Scotland player can get onto it. But Japan have been careless, and McTominay can bring it out to this right hand side to Patterson. He just lays it back to Jack Hendry. Still about 15 yards inside the Scotland half. Ferguson's dropped off to try and start something here. Then it's Hendry on the halfway line, tries to find McTominay in the channel, doesn't quite get through there, but now McGinn's picked up, and a lovely switch of play. If Robertson can keep it in, he can't quite do so, the Liverpool skipper, and out of play for a Japan throw-in, which is quickly taken. Just over 25 minutes played, still no goals between Scotland and Japan. Japan having the better of proceedings without really testing Angus. Gone one shot from distance that stung his palms, but other than that, Scotland are keeping them at bay. But certainly Japan look the likelier to make a breakthrough if it's to come, as Ito plays it into Fujita in the middle of the park, and it goes back the way to Watanabe at the edge of his penalty area, and picked up here in the middle of the park, and it's Ito again into Tanaka, still about 20 yards inside his own half, plays it square for Watanabe, the fine-haired centre back, playing as the middle of the back three for Japan. Played in a defeat by Celtic in the Europa League this season, as Suzuki, the goalkeeper, has it in his possession, in no particular hurry to get rid of it, as Conway tentatively goes to close him down. Just plays it short to Watanabe, who then clips it over the halfway line. Goto, no chance of winning that against Hendry. Seems to me that Japan have gone long on a couple of occasions, which doesn't really seem to be their most likely avenue of success. They seem to be getting more joy when they play shorter through the lines almost, as McGinn tries to release Patterson, but Maeda was backtracking there, and Japan have it once more. Maeda won't keep that in from the goalkeeper, and it's out for a Scotland throw-in. But yeah, I mean, McKenna and Hendry look like they're going to win any longer balls, but Japan are having success when they play shorter balls.
I think you just need McKenna and Hendry, in fact the back four in particular, Scotland's back four, to be a little bit more comfortable in the ball and a little bit more positive. And saying that, they need a bit of movement in front. I would suggest, don't see the midfield being productive in the build-up. I think they look okay defensively, but I think Kenny McLean and Lewis Ferguson have got to be more more active and trying to, you know, make himself available for the back four to find them.
Yeah, passes into feet and getting I agree with you, Will. I think the back four have got to use the ball better, but that applies to the midfield. I'd like to see more runners. We just saw one with McTominay try to run beyond. I think that'll be a feature. I'd like to see more from Conway working that out to in and try to get through as well, because when we get a bit of possession, we have the quality to hit those passes, but we've not quite got into that rhythm yet to do that.
Ball's back with Angus Gunn, 28.5 on the clock, no goals between Scotland and Japan in this first World Cup warm-up match. Ivory Coast to come on Tuesday at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, the new Everton ground, which I look forward to seeing. We play Ivory Coast there as Japan come forward. It's another test for Gunn, another one he doesn't hold first time, but it's a comfortable enough save as he was tested again from distance there. I think it was Goto who took the shot on from the edge of the box. Yeah,
it was decent build-up. I thought that Scotland got himself a little bit disjointed, a little bit out of position, in particular down the left-hand side, and Goto had the opportunity to pull the trigger. He's still pretty far out though. You would expect Angus Gunn to save it comfortably. You know, it was a second attempt that he got it, but I think he was always in control of that one.
Scotland have it right hand side here. Nathan Patterson rolls it back to the keeper again. It's a performance not too dissimilar to some of the ones we saw in World Cup qualifying. They weren't always all that pretty, albeit they were extremely effective. So difficult to be overly critical, but Lyndon Dykes again just failing to hold on to the ball as it's played to him down that right channel, and it's half an hour in and it's still goalless, but Japan probably the better side in that opening half an hour.
He's just got to be a bit stronger, I think, Lyndon Dykes. You know, there was a little touch in his back there, but I didn't feel there was enough to you know, put him off balance, and he did go off balance and he lost possession. Too many occasions when you're trying to hit your main striker and it's not sticking up there, then you know, it just comes right back on top of you.
McKenna again winning a long through ball quite comfortably, but it comes out to Maeda left hand side. Japan looking to grab the opening goal here as Fujita, as it threads a pass through. It's a good ball for Tanaka. He just rolls it back to Seko, and now it's out to the right hand side for the wing back to cross Sugawara of Werder Bremen. That's well repelled by the Scots defence, but again Japan pick up. The crowd are staying pretty quiet. There's no real grumbling that I can hear at this stage, but you imagine if it was a competitive match, they'd be less than happy about the way Scotland are just sitting off Japan, allowing them to dictate the play.
It's been played, you're right, Al, it's been played at obviously a friendly pace. The pressure's off. We've reached the World Cup finals, but going back to Tom's point, there's individuals out there. I bet you would be hoping it's a different game, like, you know, intensity, quick pace, getting forward, creative, but it's not been that way so far, especially the likes of Patterson, Conway, because they want to grasp the opportunity.
Yeah, Patterson's just conceded another corner on this near side, the Japanese left. 31 minutes played here at Hampden. No goals between Scotland and Japan, but certainly it's the visitors on their first trip to Glasgow who are looking the side more likely to find the opening goal. Can they do so here from Sano's corner from the left hand side? It's played into the 6-yard box. Scotland can't get it clear eventually, poked away by Lyndon Dykes. There's a real scramble in there for a moment, but Dykes gets it clear. Sano picks up once more on the left hand side, so it's another good ball in, comes off a Scotland head, and that'll be behind for another corner.
Yeah, a little bit of pressure, Scotland being put under, and it crosses into the box. You know, pressure that they should be able to cope with. They've got enough height there. You know, when you're looking at McTominay and Dykes coming back to help Henry and McKenna, as well as Patterson's got good height on him as well. But the two crosses into the box, the first one not dealt with, the second one, you know, was desperately put out for the corner.
Sano with another corner from the left hand side. It's just over Maeda at the near post. Scotland get it clear again. It's Japan to pick up through Tanaka. Steve Clark standing with his hands clasped behind his back at the edge of his technical area. Just watching proceedings as Japan continue to be the sides in the ascendancy, albeit without having found the opening goal with 12 minutes left. It's the Japan fans I think you can hear singing in the background. Looking across to my left hand side, they look to be the more active. Scotland fans delighted to be going to a World Cup after such a long absence, but I'm sure would prefer their side to be given a tougher game, as Japan were almost in there as Fujita tried to just slip it in there on the right hand side for Sugawara, but he just misjudged it and allowed Scotland to come back and close it down. But it just seems like a matter of time before Japan find an opening goal, which I think it would be pretty hard to argue they don't deserve.
Why does he not take that strike on, Fujita? I mean, he's a bit of a player, by the way, isn't he? He's controlling that midfield area, and you know, he proved earlier that he's got a good strike on him, and I thought it just opened up perfectly for him to have the right foot strike, and he decided to try to thread the pass through.
I thought the exact same, Will.
Here they come again, right hand side, looking to find a gap to exploit. What they have got is another corner, this time from the right hand side. It was Conway coming back to prevent Suzuki getting the cross in, but he has one his side. A corner which Sano is trotting across there to take. Could be a short one on if the fans yet Sano's just been waved away for the moment, so it'll be Suzuki from the right hand side. 10 minutes left in this first period. Scotland 0, Japan 0. For how much longer? As Suzuki prepares to fire this one in, right-footed, bit of jostling that the referee's keeping a close eye on inside the penalty area. Outswingers one in the air by a Japanese head, and then bundled behind. It's going to be yet another corner. It was Watanabe who got his head to it at the near post, couldn't direct it goalwards, and Kenny McLean was required to just knock it behind as Japan pressed for the first goal of the game.
They're quite happy to throw crosses in, aren't they? They're quite comfortable with the long corners as well, you know, into the heart of the defence. You know, so far Scotland have dealt with it. I wouldn't say 100% effectively, but they've dealt with it.
And it comes from Sano to the back post. Gunn goes up and clutches that one pretty confidently and eases the pressure on his back line, and now bowls it out over arm to the left hand side to McLean. McTominay now picks up about 20 yards inside his own half. Back to McLean once more, looking for a bit more movement. It's a bit static from Scotland in the middle to front areas, and Patterson has to go back the way again to Angus Gunn. Gunn this time goes long over the halfway line. Beaten in there was Lyndon Dykes, but it's picked up in the second ball by McTominay. Robertson and McTominay battling away, but McTominay can't keep it in. There'll be a Japanese throw-in. 36 played, 0-0. As Japan have it once more, midway inside their own half. A lot of energy in that Japanese side, as Sano has it just on the halfway line. Into Ito, the left side of his centre-back. Fujita back to Watanabe. He tries to switch play. Robertson wise to it though, just knocks it out of play before Sugawara can latch onto the long diagonal. Throw-ins quickly taken back for Japan, about 20 yards inside Scotland territory. Back out to the right hand side. Here's Suzuki up towards the edge of the box. It's a lovely ball. Sano had the opportunity to shoot off the crossbar. Scotland breathe a huge sigh of relief once more as the ball broke kindly. I thought Sano again was going to take the shot on. He chose not to, but in the end it broke to Goto, who with a snapshot, it was always rising, didn't really ever look like it was going to dip under the crossbar. But another close run thing, and Scotland survive. Scotland 0, Japan 0 after 37.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's good play though, wasn't it? Good build-up down the right-hand side from Japan, and Goto, eventually it falls to him. I thought decent defending before that. Is it not Tanaka that has the strike there? He just opens his foot up. It's not instep. He's just trying to side foot it into the back of the net, but it's always going up. It's always rising. It's never looking like it's going to end up. And in the back of the net, and it comes off the top of the crossbar. But you know, a decent opportunity, well worked.
There's gaps here though, isn't there? They're comfortable in possession, as you said. Al Suzuki had an opportunity. I thought he was going to pull the trigger, and it eventually comes back to Tanaka, just opens up the foot and hits off the crossbar. They've been the better team, Japan.
Oh yeah, for sure. Here's McTominay surrounded by 4 or 5 Japan players, gets it back to Robertson, who goes long looking for him again, but he's beaten to it by Ito. McTominay trying to bring his energy to the game, but he's lost out in the middle of the park too. Tanaka, who just slows things down and rolls it to his side to Fujita, just in the Scotland half now. It's Ito out to Maeda, left hand side. We're well used to the energy that Daizen Maeda has in his game, and it looks like the vast majority of his international teammates have that in abundance as well. It's a huge part of their game, and they have bossed this one without being able to get the opening goal, but coming within inches of doing so just a few moments ago as the ball's played up to Ngoso, and now back with Suzuki inviting forwards, and there's Sano with the shot from the edge of the box, well off target in the end from attacking midfielder. But again, Scotland on the back foot here, and they'll do well at this stage to get to half-time with the scoreline goalless.
Well, they've no control of the game, Scotland. That's a big issue for them. It's Japan that are controlling everything out there. Whenever Scotland get possession, they're put under pressure so quickly, and they end up giving it away or trying long balls or misplaced passes, and simply just giving possession back to the visitors. But they're a good side. Japan, they're a good side. They're a very good side. When they're in possession, they move it really quickly, and they've got good movement, and they know how they've got midfield players, and they know how to get on the ball. Fujita and Tanaka in the midfield are dominating that area.
Yeah, they're definitely passing it better than us, aren't they? Just the initial phases of play, the initial passes to open up the space, finding the right pass, then it's wide cross, and they've got bodies in the box. We're getting it, making 1 or 2 passes and going long and losing possession.
Yeah, the thing about this is it's no different for Japan in the sense that this is not the 11 that will have played together time and again. This is a side that is relatively experimental as well, and yet they look a lot more comfortable together. Here's Scotland coming forward. Robertson's cross is a poor one though, almost ended up in the back of the net directly, but that wasn't what he was intending. Nowhere near picking out a teammate, and with 40 minutes played, it's still Scotland 0, Japan 0.
It's a little bit better though. Kenny McLean, you know, taking a bit of responsibility in there, getting on the ball, bursting forward, setting up Andy Robertson, but he'll be disappointed with that quality across. It's got to be better. Listen, he might have got a huge big chunk of luck, and it could have ended up you know, baffling the goalkeeper, but really that's not what he meant. He was looking for one of his teammates through the middle and just simply didn't find him.
McLean wins it on the halfway line. It's an area he is very familiar with, but he's lost it here, and Maeda picks up, and it's 3 against 2 here for Japan. Can he grab the opening goal? Straight at Angus Gunn on that occasion. It was Yuto Suzuki who had the shot from inside the penalty area, but he really fluffed his lines. It's a big chance there, and Japan passing up the opportunity to move in front before the interval. 42 minutes in, and it's still Scotland 0, Japan 0.
Yeah, but it's that really high press. It's so quick, you know, when they pull the trigger, and it's set up, you know, a huge opportunity for Suzuki. He's got to do better. You know, every shot has been straight at Angus Gunn. Every one that they've had on target has been straight at the goalkeeper, and what is that, maybe 3, possibly 4 that they've had. But that was a big one. And it came from that high press, that really quick press, and Scotland are not coping with it, and Japan are winning the ball back really early and putting Scotland in the back foot, and disorganised as well, and gaps are beginning to open up at the back, particularly with the 2 central defenders.
We're not complaining about them shooting straight to the goalkeeper, are we, Willie? But you're right, they've had 3 or 4. We must pass the ball better initially, and it was Kenny McLean on that occasion now who was caught in possession, and they should have done better, Japan.
Patterson's gone down. Referees not interested in Scotland's claims for a free kick, and Japan have it at the edge of the penalty. Just over 2 minutes left as Patterson remains on the deck here. Eventually Japan knock the ball out of play allowing Patterson to receive a bit of treatment, which does seem to require. It seemed to look quite innocuous, but certainly felt something as he went down.
I think it might give Stevie Clarke maybe just to have a little word with him, just see initial passing, just first 2 or 3, let's get him short, sharp, keep a bit of possession. You just see he's got caught in the ankle there, I think, from Fujita. Just not intentional, got a bit of the ball, but caught
on
the
the
foot.
toe, isn't it?
But I've got to be honest, it's just that first couple of passes not quick enough, and then we've been forced to go long and just giving them the ball straight back. They've passed the ball really well.
Play back underway. Probably have a minute or two of stoppage time at the end of the half. No goals in this first period, but Japan certainly the better team, as Kenny McLean does well to cut out a long through ball there, going back into that left back position to win it for Scotland. Here's McKenna, plays it short again for McLean, midway inside his own half, looking for an option ahead of him. Ferguson's the one he chooses. Now he plays it to McTominay, trying to free himself of the shackles of Seko, which he manages to do to get the ball to Robertson, and now it's forward to Conway, and Scotland do a smash and grab at the end of this first period. It's Conway at the edge of the penalty area, back to Robertson. That's a good ball, keeper gets something on it, comes out to Patterson, edge of the box, right hand side, sends it back in on the left foot. Lancing header comes off McTominay's shoulder almost, and it's a comfortable stop for the keeper, but it's at last better from Scotland in the final minute of the opening 45, and it's still Scotland 0, Japan 0.
Yeah, it was an okay header from McTominay. He was almost onto the first cross from the left hand side, but the goalkeeper Suzuki punching it, not making a very good job, and then coming in from Patterson, he repositions himself and he gets a header on it, but not enough power, not enough direction, and quite an easy one for the keeper to drive down and take quite comfortably.
See the first bit of it though, there's a chance I'll maybe speak about after this.
Scotland stopping Japan at the edge of the penalty area, but Japan have picked up once more on the angle on the right hand side. Sugawara at the byline now, can he pick out a teammate on the edge of the 6-yard box? Maida's trying to turn it home, but there's Patterson to thump it up to the halfway line before Japan can turn it into the back of the net. Again, they were looking dangerous there as Dykes and McGinn win the ball on the halfway line. Tried to get it out to the left hand side there, did McGinn, but couldn't quite get the pass off, and Japan have it back yet again. It's Maeda, he's brought to the ground there by Ferguson. Free kick goes Japan's way,
and then they get back to doing what they do. I mean, really crisp passing sets up the opportunity for Maeda, but Patterson boots it clear. But our first bit, Kenny McLean and then McTominay, Robertson wide, first couple of passes, we've got a good ball in the box, we've got a chance. We need to do more of that. We've not passed it well at all, especially back to middle area of the pitches.
We're into stoppage time here as Japan have a free kick. Just a minute added on. We've actually already played a minute, but there'll be time at least for this free kick to be taken. It's pretty much midway inside the Scotland half on the left of centre, and it'll be taken by Corey Sano with the right foot, curls it in dangerously. That's surely offside. Yeah, the header comes in, and Gunn saves comfortably to his right hand side, but it would have been chopped off and it ended up in the back of the net for an offside. And there is the half-time whistle. No goals in the first half, which Scotland started really well and might have been in front after just 8 minutes when McGinn found McTominay, who stabbed an effort towards goal, and somehow the goalkeeper was able to direct it onto the post and it stayed out. But really that is virtually the sum total of Scotland's attacking intent, because the game was thereafter dominated by Japan, who had at least 3 efforts on goal, but all straight at Angus Gunn, who was able to deal with them, but they have been the better side by some distance. And Scotland can consider themselves somewhat fortunate to go in at the break on level terms. It is at half-time at the National Stadium. Scotland 0, Japan 0.
Scotland, the national team.
Goal Scotland! Live on Sportsound.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
This is Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland with me, Andy Burke. Half-time here at Hampden. It's Scotland 0, Japan 0, but that perhaps doesn't tell the full story. Japan have been the much more impressive side and will feel they should be leading at the break, but they've not managed to make that breakthrough and it remains goalless. Alistair Lamont, Willie Miller and Billy Dodds have been describing the first half action. Tom English is with us also, and Tom, when Scotland kind of briefly threatened with a couple of half chances at the end of the half there, I thought this is going to be one of the biggest smashing grabs we've ever seen, because Japan were pretty good in that first half without making the breakthrough.
Yeah, Japan are a good side. They're confident on the ball, aren't they? Technically very good. They work hard. They dispossess. They're dispossessing Scotland early with their work rate, and they're countering very, very quickly. And the only problem for Japan is that their attempts on goal have been pretty average.
Yeah.
But they've created a number of them. And I think if they keep creating, they're going to score eventually. And Scotland at the other end started well, I thought. McTominay, I mean, for him, a player of his calibre, that's a sitter. He's an absolute sitter.
Keeper did well though.
Keeper did well, but McTominay shouldn't have allowed him to do well.
No, I know. Either side and it's a goal.
Either side and it's a goal. It's point blank range. This is the guy who scored an overhead kick from miles out last time we saw him.
You can't hold him to those standards with every chance he has for the rest of his career.
I can and I will. No, I hold him to a high standard. I hold him to a standard whereby he should score that goal.
He'll think he should have scored.
Definitely. So that would have got Scotland off to a flyer, but Ada would have rocked Japan a little bit. But Japan have settled into the game. They're bossing the game. I think Scotland look harried in possession. They've had a couple, that McTominay one at the end there, that header. I mean, it was an easy save. Couldn't get much power on it, but at least it was a sign of life. There weren't many of those during the first half. I thought they've just been outplayed. I mean, it's still 0-0. That's great, but Scotland have been outplayed. And again, there's not a lot of character in this in terms of the performance. Not a lot of energy, not a lot of urgency in the performance, not a lot of aggression in the performance. It's just all a bit blah, and I'd like to see a bit more attitude and a bit more oomph, because they're certainly lacking in that.
Yeah, that's the way forward. Blah and oomph.
Blah and oomph, yeah. Summed up perfectly.
Sums up my career.
Yeah. Boom or bust, blah or oomph, take your pick. Billy Dodds, I just think we spoke before the game about what Scotland showed in that Denmark game, and a little bit, as I was saying to Tom, with the McTominay thing, you can't always judge Scotland on what happened that night. It's not fair, but I think just the intent in Scotland's play, the goals they scored that night, just feels a little bit safe tonight, a little bit conservative.
Feels a friendly.
Yeah.
The pressure's off. That's exactly what it is.
But is that not the situation to then take a bit more risk in your passing?
Well, I think the fringe players who are trying to impress, as I said in commentary, Tom's got a good point in terms of they'll be wanting to show, but they've got a game where it's pretty flat, it's sitting off at times, using the ball. The biggest thing about it, Japan's passed it better than us, and it's not worrying, it's frustrating for us, because we've got players there who can pass it, but I don't think we're doing the right things within our formation. I don't think we're getting the ball and using it nice and quickly. The only time we did was just before half time, when McLean gets it, uses it quickly into McTominay. Robertson joins in the run, he goes, the shot comes in, the cross comes in, and we get a header at goal. I think we should be braver in doing that more in possession, especially deep areas when the defenders and the midfielders have the ball, because they're the ones that have not always got that intense pressure on them. Whereas Japan in those areas have used it excellently. Now they've got good players, but so have we, and that's a frustrating bit for me. Not that the friendly, I'm not surprised with the way the pace of the game is.
I'm just looking at our Japanese colleagues here in front of me, lads, and they've got the tactics board out live on the telly. So Tom, do you want to get the board out and just break down what's been happening here?
Okay, just I'm glad I brought one. I brought one with me today.
Wilfred Nancy left it behind.
I was bringing with me to every game I go to. I'm glad now I've got an opportunity to...
You've not brought any goodies with you, because you've been delving into all hours.
When I get nervous, I start launching into the jelly babies.
I noticed.
I don't know about breaking down. I think maybe break dancing. Tom would be better at. I want to let you near that tactic board, Tom. Come on. You've got plenty of qualities, absolutely, but starting moving little men about, don't think so, eh?
I mean, I let the experts do that.
I
think when you slide the magnets out, you could go use that thing you do.
How did they do that on television? So have they got that on telly, Andy? Have they?
Yeah, the cameraman's right beside me. I should note that before the game, their big light here that they had left unattended blew over in the wind and almost took me out, and none of you even noticed. It was a near-death experience.
We just left you.
We all noticed it. We were kind of laughing. I don't know if you noticed it.
Okay, that sounds about right. Willie Miller, we've just seen a replay of the Scott McTominay chance early on, and who knows if he takes that, maybe the game's a little bit different, but the guys are saying A, McTominay would expect to score, but B, you've got to give the keeper credit. He got a hand out very quickly to keep that out.
It was purely instinctive, wasn't it, really, because it was so close in, and you would expect McTominay to find the back of the net. It was determined play down the right hand side from Scotland, and John McGinn really good cut back as well, and a big opportunity, probably the best opportunity of the game, although I think Japan's had maybe another 3 or 4 good chances, but that McTominay chance, and it might have turned the game, but listen, this is a very good Japanese side, that's for sure. The quality of the press is magnificent. I think the midfield, Tanaka and Fujita, have been absolutely outstanding, knowing how to play that position, knowing how to get on the ball, knowing how to get away from your man, and be available for to start the build-up play. And Scotland just haven't done that. I just don't feel that Kenny McLean and Lewis Ferguson have made themselves available enough. I just think that's where you're not going to get any momentum, you're not going to get any build-up play if the back four are on the ball and they've got no targets. And I don't even think McTominay's been a good enough target, and John McGinn's been very quiet as well, so I think the midfield has been disappointing. I think Japan are a very good side. Scotland have not hit the levels that they're capable of hitting, and you would hope that they would get better in the second half, but I'm enjoying watching what looks like possibly their second string, the Japanese side. It might be their second string, as Tom is getting a photograph taken from one of his many fans.
Goodness, a selfie.
Well, it's the first time. Normally it's you lot getting your photographs taken, so it's a first for me.
Scottish,
I'm honoured.
It's all right. Mine's is in that just before you got me in the corridor.
I'll play second fiddle to you, legend, any day of the week.
No, the boy just told me he's a rugby fan. I don't know why.
Well, we could do a bit more rugby type aggression out here from Scotland.
Now, those tactics you could talk, couldn't you?
We could do it. We could do it a bit more urgency from Scotland.
Urgency.
Like, these are very good Scotland players, but they look like they're hesitant out there. They look like a team that feels a little bit intimidated by their opposition. And I just think Scotland believe in themselves a bit more. We'll see a better performance from them. They're just a little bit standoffish. I know they're playing against a good side. They are definitely playing against a very good side. Scotland are a good side too. We know that.
I hate to agree with you, but I think Stevie Clark will be using that word. Look, we need that urgency. We're strolling through the game. Just get the ball, use it quicker. And if we do that, we'll create space and people will run into it, and then we'll create chances. But right now it's all a bit slow. They're waiting to spring on us. They're waiting to jump on us. They've nicked it a couple of times. They got a good opportunity when they robbed it off of Kenny McLean. It's all going their way, but I think we'll have a bit of hope, and I'm sure he'll be saying it, there'll be a bit more urgency in our possession play in the second half.
And he'll be saying, Willie Miller, we're level, we might not have got the better of it, but we're still right there, and if we can pick it up in this second half, then it's all to play for.
No, absolutely. I think when the opposition have kind of dominated you in the first 45 and it's still 0-0, then you've got a chance coming out in the second half, but he's got to be telling the players, he's got to be more forceful, and that they have got to show more bravery, I think, more belief in their own ability to start taking control of the game, because this is a game that they're not controlling at all, and they shouldn't be surprised when they're put under pressure. So they know that they've got to, we're saying that before the game, and it's been proven in that first 45 that when you get the ball, you're not getting a great deal of time, so you have got to make your movement quick. You've got to get on the ball, and you've got to use it as quickly as you possibly can, and to do that you need your players moving, you need your teammates to move, and I just don't see that. I just don't see them linking up enough in the game, and they are hesitant. I'm looking at Patterson, he's unsure. The two centre-backs are not particularly sure as well. They can use the ball quicker, they can make the pass more firmer and more direct and more positive. But then again, I'm not seeing the movement in front, Dodgy. I'm not seeing that movement in front with the midfield and Lyndon Dykes. Whenever it's been played up to Lyndon Dykes, unfortunately, he's not been able to hold it up. So Scotland have not really got into the game. They've not really controlled the game. It's been all about the Japanese, and they have certainly dominated and had the best. Well, they've had more chances. Scotland's had the best chance of the game with McTominay and should have scored. But other than that, it's been disappointing from the home side. And you just hope that it's going to get better in the second half.
We're just not seeing any of Scotland's top guys deliver here, really, are we? They're having very little impact on the game at all.
I mean, John McGinn,
I know it's just anonymous.
He's had one of them games again where you're looking and saying, where are you, John? Because you know how he can turn the game. When he's on his game, when he's that John McGinn that wants to get the ball, wants to take on players, wants to do the work in the opposition half, and he hasn't done that. And even Andy Robertson down the other side, you want to see him being more positive, getting forward. I don't see any reason why he can't do that.
It all runs into one another. You're right. Well, you were away from a comfort break. I was talking about being brave and using the ball quicker, especially those defensive to midfield areas, because if your defenders use it quickly, your midfielders will move. Then you'll get your movement for your forwards, and just not happening. It's all staggered and slow so far. And you just need that, Tom said, the urgency in possession.
It's like a chain reaction and joined up movement and joined up thinking, and I think if Scotland are capable of doing it, it's just not happened in the first half. Let's hopefully we see it in the second.
Well, Scotland are back in action on Tuesday night. Steve Clarke's side are in Liverpool to take on the Ivory Coast, and as always, Sports Sound will have you covered.
Sports Sound, live Scottish football lives here. Glorious! Here's Scotland versus Ivory Coast.
We are returning to the World Cup!
Tuesday evening from 6 on BBC Radio Scotland and Sounds.
Well, if you're just joining us at half-time here at Hampden, it's Scotland 0, Japan 0, but the visitors very much having the better of it. More possession, more chances, although Scotland did have a fantastic opportunity from Scott McTominay, who was denied early on, but certainly Japan have taken control since then. And Tom English, I wonder, the guys are talking about being braver on the ball and maybe committing a few more men and just being a bit more positive. Scotland, when you look at the options on the bench, do you see anyone that you think could maybe come on and change this up a bit?
I'd like to see Findlay Curtis come on, because he will run at people. I would hope that the kind of confidence and innocence of youth would mean he'd come on and be a bit fearless. And I think that's what Scotland need. They need a spark. They need somebody to do something to light up the rest of the performance. And a Curtis, someone like him, might do it. I'd like to see him anyway, but I think he has that kind of abandon about him at his best. So yeah, just change it up a little bit. Maybe not straight away, but as the game goes on, because there's very little happening in the Scotland team right now. It's just all, as you said, safe, and that's what it is. It's just, and this is my concern about Scotland, is that they do lapse into this quite a lot. We know what they're like when they're at their best, and we know how to get to their best when they had that fever pitch. But then they could just get sucked into this kind of passive, slow, pedestrian.
It's almost like trying not to lose the game rather than going out and winning it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this kind of meandering, standoffish, maybe a bit too much respect for the opponent. Yeah, you want to respect your opponent, but you don't want to give him too much respect. Go at him. Go for the jugular. Be aggressive. I think Scotland are none of those things. We know they can be those things, but certainly in that first half they haven't been.
Yeah, we just need to see a wee bit more Willie Miller in this second half from Scotland.
Yeah, probably a big bit more, to be perfectly honest, Andy. I think not being facetious, but you're expecting more from Scotland, and I think if they just up the tempo a bit, the quality that Scotland have got out there, and you just want them to show that. That's all you want them to do. But you know, there's a part of the game where you've got to work hard, you've got to show, you've got to take responsibility, you've got to know what's at stake. It's a build-up for the World Cup, and it's just all these things that I think that Steve Clarke's got to get into the mind of the players, because they haven't really done themselves justice tonight. They've got to be better in the second half. I think they will be better in the second half, and I just think on evidence of that first half, it's been played like a friendly by Scotland, and they've got to try and bin that. I don't think the crowd are appreciating. I don't think the crowd are helping. They've got nothing to cheer about, so there's hardly any atmosphere out there, I don't feel, to inspire Scotland. I think they need to inspire themselves. They need to give the fans something to cheer about. So all we can do is hope that will be the case in the second half.
You have players. I mean, I mentioned Finlay Curtis. You know, Ryan Christie would be another one. To get on the ball, try and make things happen. Maybe Lennon Miller. Let's have a little look at him. You know, they need to shake this up, because this is just too flat.
Well, the Japan team have been back out on the pitch for quite some time, and now the Scotland team emerges from the tunnel and out onto the pitch. Will we see an uplifting performance from the home side? Because they've certainly been second best up to this point. Scotland 0, Japan 0. The teams are back out, so let's hand back to our commentary team of Billy Dodds, Willie Miller and Alistair Lamont.
Thanks, Andy. Japan, I think, have made 3 changes at the break, so I'm just desperately trying to work through what they are. Shogo Taniguchi is one of the players who's coming on, and the lack of a physical team sheet at Hampden these days doesn't necessarily help with such things. And looks like Kyle Mitoma of Brighton is another one of the players who's coming on as a player be known to fans of the English Premier League, and Yusuke Suzuki is the other one who is coming on. Scotland about to get us back on the way. It doesn't look like they've made any changes as yet, so Steve Clarke giving that starting 11 another opportunity to try and make an impact in the game before, no doubt, there'll be Scotland substitutions made as well. Japan looking to start the second half as they played most of that first period, bursting forward, but there's a good challenge there by McKenna, and that allows Conway to try and bring Scotland forward. Just overruns it slightly, but does take the throw in. Back the way to his captain, Andy Robertson, now joint second in terms of all-time appearance makers for the national team. Massively impressive achievement from the Liverpool man. Taniguchi has come on for Watanabe at centre back. Mitoma on for Sano on the left-hand side. As Scotland come forward here through McTominay, out to the right-hand side to Patterson in an advanced position. Back with McTominay midway inside the Japan half. Lewis Ferguson back out to Patterson. He comes back the way to Hendry. Hendry back once more to Patterson, and the 1-2 play, and it just about comes off, and there's a lovely ball for McGinn. McGinn stands up to the edge of the 6-yard box, no takers, behind for a corner. Good passage of play from Scotland, a little bit fortuitous between Hendry and Patterson, but they got there eventually, and then Hendry played a wonderful ball for McGinn, who stood it up into a terrific area, but unfortunately it was pretty much between 2 Scotland players, and all they get from it is a corner kick.
Yeah, he got the break of the ball, but sometimes he deserved that as well. And you know, McGinn, although can he look up? I think, you know, maybe he should be looking up and trying to pick out one of his teammates rather than just dinking it towards the back post. I think it was, you know, more just to get it into a dangerous area.
Here's a corner from Lewis Ferguson to the back post. It's away by Mitoma, only as far as McLean. A big shout of shoot as he picks the ball up anywhere in the opposition half. Then the header comes in from McTominay, but it's over the top. Scotland certainly look brighter in the opening couple of minutes of the second period, but no goals to show for it. Still Scotland 0, Japan 0.
And I think it's just straightforward, enthusiasm, and will to get up the park, and will to contest the ball against the opposition. And then when you get into a decent area, put the ball into the box, get them tested, get the fans on your side, because the fans haven't been on the team side so far in this game, and rightly so, because they haven't really done anything to deserve that support.
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet inside Hampden during the first half. Japan fans, if anything, making the noise, but Scotland trying to change that, trying to change the mood inside the National Stadium in the second period. But here come Japan on the front foot, and it's a save again for Angus Gunn. Another comfortable one, you would have to say, as the shot came in on the turn from their front man Goto.
Yeah, it's quite an easy save though, isn't it? Angus Gunn, Goto on the left foot. He does make a good run. It's a little angled run, the ball's played in front of him, but it's always going to be difficult to get any real power in the shot, and as it happened, it was a low shot, lacking power, once again straight at the goalkeeper.
It's definitely an up in pace and that urgency we were all talking about at half time. I'm surprised at Conway when McGinn did get into that area beyond the defence when he did think. I think Conway, your opposite wide man's got to be hitting in that back post area, and he just stood out. And him playing as a striker at times, you would think he would have that instinct, but he just stayed out to play.
Back to Suzuki in the Japanese goal. There's now 3 Suzukis on the pitch for Japan, so I'll try and discern between them, but certainly Zion Suzuki is the goalkeeper, as they now come forward through another of those is Yuto Suzuki down the right hand side, knocked out of play there by Ferguson, who tracked him back deep into his own territory. It'll be a throw in to Japan on their right hand side. 49.5 minutes played, still 0-0, but Scotland looking a little bit sharper at the start of this second half. Hopefully that continues, and we see a couple of home goals as we get a long awaited victory in a Hampden friendly. 10 years almost to the day since that last one against Denmark in 2016. As McGinn, who made his debut on that occasion, slips the ball out to Patterson. Patterson plays it infield for Conway. If that's the ball he attempted, it was terrific. And then McTominay is brought to ground here by Fujita. It's a free kick to Scotland, about 25 yards out, maybe just a little bit more than that. And again, Scotland looking far more positive than they did during that first half.
Yeah, a little bit of good fortune I felt with the pass from Patterson, but hey, it finds a target, and McTominay's brought down. Is it a distance that could be attempted on goal? Of course it could. It's maybe 30 yards perhaps, and there's 4 of them round about it, eyeing them up. But yeah, just they've lifted the enthusiasm, haven't they? They've lifted the pace. John McGinn has started to take part as well in the game too, so it's looking much better in the second half. I think it had to, I really did think it had to look better, and they've got this opportunity left hand side. Not too sure just yet who fancies it. I know Lewis Ferguson is over it, Kenny McLean fancies it with the left and Ferguson with the right, and McTominay just hovering behind both of these, so looks as though they're going to take it on.
It's McTominay who steps up right footed just over the top. The keeper got a touch to it, maybe was heading over anyway, but the keeper wasn't taking any chances, and it's a corner kick to Scotland.
Yeah, I think it was heading over, but you're right, take no chances, just got a touch on it. It was well worked, the wall broke. Scotland had players in the wall, and McTominay went through the wall, but just a little bit too high.
Ferguson from the left hand side then from the corner kick, as Scotland look to capitalise on this early good second half play. Back post ball, out comes Suzuki, gets a decent punch as far as Patterson. Patterson just nudges it to his left to Andy Robertson, back with Ferguson. He slips it for Conway, who wasn't entirely expecting it, but he's done well to keep the ball in play. Maeda though picks up possession and just plays it down the right hand side, the Japan captain, and picked up by Patterson just inside his own half. And now Kenny McLean, but much better from Scotland in the opening 7 minutes of this second period. Still goalless here on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland, as McTominay now has possession on the halfway line. out to McGinn, right-hand side, the Aston Villa captain. And Hendry plays it square for McKenna, who gets it back once more from Andy Robertson. Scotland again being pushed back the way by Japan, aggressively pressing them up the park. Patterson tries a very ambitious ball, which is given away, but fortunately for him, Japan don't keep a hold of it either, and it's back with Angus Gunn, who has done fine despite his lack of first team action for Nottingham Forest. Everything that's really been thrown his way has come straight at him, and saves you would expect him to make, as McKenna has it now. It's given away though to Fujita, now into substitute, and Gunn has to smother at the edge of the 6-yard box as Mitoma tried to slip it in there for Goto, but didn't quite come off. But it was all came as a bit of slackness from McKenna playing the ball forward. Now it's McGinn losing out over on the far side, and Fujita once more picks up in the middle of the park. Suzuki, just a little tug back there from McLean perhaps, but he gets away with it, and now he has it, Kenny McLean. And again the tries to shoot, go up as soon as he gets the ball, regardless of the fact that he was midway inside his own half. He's lost it eventually as he tried to burst forward. Good chance from McTominay though to win it for Conway, and now Robertson joins in on the left-hand side. Lyndon Dykes peeling away from the back post. Robertson still going, saved by Suzuki, pushes it away. Brilliant run by Andy Robertson, and almost producing the opening goal of the game. Suzuki pushes it behind for a corner. Scotland 0, Japan 0.
Oh, fabulous stuff from Andy Robertson there. But Scott McTominay, showing that desire, that work rate to throw the long legs in and actually win possession out to Robertson. Then, only the one thing in mind, and that's driving into the heart of that defence and pulling the trigger. And a really good save from Suzuki as well.
Corner kick about to be taken from the right-hand side, but the referee spotted something that he's needs a word with Jack Hendry about. So a slight delay here before John McGinn can swing this one in. Right-footed, he's played it short in the end to Ferguson. Ferguson in the angle of the box, quickly charged down by Maeda. Maeda did not give him a second to get that shot away, and now Japan all of a sudden on the counter-attack. Maeda can't find Mitoma on this right-hand side, and Scotland survived that counter-attack, but it looked promising for Scotland, but Maeda in typical fashion closing down Lewis Ferguson before he could get the shot in, and all of a sudden Japan were away on the counter. Came to nothing though.
They could have done more with the corner. I felt Kenny McLean standing spare to move the closest man out and run him. I think they could maybe have played Kenny McLean directly in, just about maybe 15 yards from goal, but they didn't. They played Lewis Ferguson. He hit that shot you were talking about, Al.
That's Robertson up to Dykes, who's barged to the ground there by Taniguchi, one of the substitutes. Plays in Belgium for Sint-Truiden. Scotland free kick then, just inside their own half. Robertson plays it back the way to McKenna. Square to Hendry. McTominay looks a lot livelier in this second half, coming to look for the ball, and then he finds McLean, who plays it forward. Maeda's back in the left back position, tidying things up and knocking it back to his goalkeeper. Again, Maeda getting involved, but nodded forward, and Scotland have it to McTominay. McLean closed down quickly, but gets the ball to McTominay once more, and then McGinn again gets it back on the right hand side, clips it forwards. Poor ball though from McGinn, and easily tidied up by the Japanese defence. Out to the right hand side for Sugawara, and into Tanaka. Conway closing him down, but Japan keep possession. It's back with into the heart of the Japanese defence. Taniguchi once more, then Fujita. Scotland trying to do what Japan have been doing all game and just pressing Japan, keeping them in a tight area. Kenny McLean rolls the ball all the way back to Angus Gunn. Gunn once more out to McLean, just at the edge of his box. McLean wants options, plays it short to Robertson. Now McKenna, just to the left of his box, clips it up towards Lyndon Dykes. As the national anthem rings round the stadium. 0-0 after almost 58 minutes. It's certainly a more even contest, it feels like, in the second period.
Definitely. I'm looking at McLean, especially with Suzuki, who's the wide player. He's going in because they're forcing Sugara up wide, and then he's going in, and McLean's going all the way with him. That time he didn't. You can see him, he goes and gets it. But the last occasion he was all the way deep with him when Suzuki showed short, and Scotland come out with the ball.
Poke forward there for Goto, tries to look with Maida. Maida well tracked on that occasion by Patterson. Gunn gets the pass back from Patterson, and Maida was quickly upon him, but Gunn gets it clear out for a throw-in on this near side. But it was good defensive play and good covering by Patterson to deny Maida the attempt on goal in the first instance.
I would have to say it's a pass back from hell, though.
Yeah,
I tell you, Gunn had to really work at his control there. If he'd have miscontrolled that at all, Maida was in.
Here he is, Celtic forward. A big job on his hands for his club, trying to retain their title. But he's an important player for his country as well, as Japan have it in the midfield. It's Fujita spinning it out to the right hand side there for Sugawara. Back here on the Japanese right with Seko. Scotland almost winning it back there through Ferguson. I don't think it'll be too long now that the hour mark's almost upon us before Scotland begin to make some changes. But here's Tanaka into Suzuki and out to Sugawara right hand side in an advanced area. Just rolls it back into Fujita. Tanaka once more in the heart of the midfield for Seko. Seko takes a poor touch. Conway tries to pinch it from him, but Japan keep it. Seko gets it into the edge of the box. Hendry with a pass out to Ferguson. He just knocks it back to Angus Gunn, and immediately forward looking for Lyndon Dykes. Again, Dykes can't hold on to it, and Japan too easily able to win the ball back. Play forward, and that's a foul by McKenna on Mitoma. Very, very talented player, Kaoru Mitoma of Brighton, as Japan prepares to take this free kick on the halfway line. Fujita just takes it short to Tanaka. Fujita rolls it back once more to Taniguchi, and then out to the left hand side. Japan bring it forward on that far side. It's Maida midway inside the Scotland half, just beyond the hour. Looks like Scotland are beginning to prepare some substitutions. As Tanaka is closed down by McLean, comes back the way to the halfway line to Taniguchi. Seko now. Scotland definitely have been asked to press more quickly and higher, and they're doing that right now, but Japan, being used to that no doubt, are able to retain possession. They are composed on the ball, and it'll be interesting to see how they fare at the World Cup. Netherlands is their first game, as here they come forward looking for the opening goal. Maida was just on his heels as Mitoma tried to roll him in. Just a little breakdown in communication almost between the two there, and Japan are about to make, oh my goodness, four changes here. Well, listen, you two just talk for the next 20 minutes or so, and I'll try and sort these substitutions out.
I had a giggle when I saw them.
Yes, indeed. No, much better second half from Scotland, and much more aggressive, much higher line that they're playing, prepared to take responsibility in midfield. You see Kenny McLean, you see Lewis Ferguson now getting close to the important Japan midfield players as well, and putting them under pressure and giving them a taste perhaps of their own medicine. So it's definitely been much better, higher tempo, more responsibility being taken, determination to get forward as well from Scotland, and it's just turned it round, hasn't it? It's and it's just the simple things in the game that had to be checked and reinforced at half time, and Steve Clarke's obviously done that. and the players have taken it on board, and it's much more easier in the eye, and you can be far more positive about the Scotland second half performance than we were in the first half. Is that enough, Al?
Kind
Keep
of.
going.
I'll do the easy bit first.
Yeah,
Scotland have made 2 changes. Ryan Christie and George Hurst have come on for Lyndon Dykes and John McGinn. As I say, Japan have made 4 changes. We'll get to the personnel involved in them in good time. I'm sure our Japanese audience will forgive me for not being right up to date with them.
I'm looking at, I know all these subs are coming on, but the movement stays the same within the formation. There are 2 wide players who were Suzuki and Sano just come right in the pitch, and there are 2 wing backs, Maeda, Sugawara, get forward at pace, and it's causing problems for Scotland. They don't know who to go with. Suzuki sometimes comes in and then goes deep to get the ball, and McLean and Lewis Ferguson are talking to try and react to it, and the movement is excellent. That's why they're getting a lot of possession. Japan.
Here comes a free kick from Japan, and it's not behind. That could probably have been left by Lewis Ferguson, but perhaps the communication wasn't what it might have been from Angus Gunn, and instead it's nodded behind for a corner kick for Scotland to deal with here in the right hand side.
Yeah, it's simply one of these occasions where I'm sure Lewis Ferguson didn't get the shout to leave it, but if the shout did come, then it's a goal kick, so it's one that's just a lack of communication.
Corner kick then from the right hand side. He swung out the way. It's not a bad delivery. It's going to come all the way to the edge of the box, and the shot comes in, and it's not too far away from the opening goal. It's a really decent effort as it comes in. Was it Mitoma who hit that one? Either way, it wasn't far wide Angus Gunn's post. They had him scrambling for sure, but Mitoma just wide of target.
That was a good effort though, wasn't it? He takes his time, he gets it down, he just caresses it. It's got plenty of power on it, and you can see he's just trying to curl it into the far post. I think Angus Gunn would have got to it. I think would have got a hand on it if it had crept in. It just flew past that far post. Good effort though.
It's a poor challenge. It's going to bring about the first yellow card of the game. It's, Lewis Ferguson felt the brunt of that one.
Going back to it, the corners, Scotland leave the edge of the box, and there's always 2, and that's why it fell to Mitoma. And it's a great touch and technical to try and get the instep round it, to try and get it curling in at that far post. Missed it by about half a yard, but really good effort.
Junsuke Suzuki was the player booked there for that challenge on Ferguson. As Scotland have it on the halfway line. Hendry closed down by Mitoma. Daisen Maeda having been one of the players that's gone off. Mitoma playing in that left hand side of the forward line now, as the ball's played forward by Scotland, but Hurst won't get there before Zion Suzuki, and so Japan will build again. 65 minutes in, almost 66 on the clock, still 0-0. As Japan look to build from the back through Seko, back to his goalkeeper. Forward it goes, and Mitoma again rolls it in beautifully. It's a wonderful ball, and there's a chance here for Japan. Can they finish it off? Oh, it's saved in the end by Gunn as Ito went through on goal. Wonderful skill in the first place, and it looked certainly he was going to finish it off, but maybe just overdid it in the end. Junya Ito, and Gunn was able to make the save, but perhaps Japan should be celebrating the opening goal there.
I think they should, yeah. I mean, it's brilliant footwork from Ito as he burst through. A great little pass in behind as well, and Andy Robertson caught a little bit. Yeah, he takes probably too much, but see if he finishes that with a little dink over the top of Gunn. It ends up in the back of the net, because the close control was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, he does too much. Should have had the shot off a couple of times, where it's a lovely ball from Mitoma, puts him through, and he could pull the trigger right away at the angle. He cuts inside, and you think, oh, that's perfect, just bend it in the far corner, and then he drags it again. But that time Scotland have players back, and they get the block on it, but it was Japan's probably their best chance of the match.
Japan have it once more. Just get to the midpoint of the second period. Still no goals. Japan come forward here. Once more, the offside flag goes up against them, though.
You get your sub sorted now, Al?
Not quite.
Still going.
Still at it.
Well,
As
you
I've
better
said,
start speaking.
the lack of a team sheet is a real issue. I mean, I don't know why.
Indeed.
I know for ecological reasons we want to be using less paper, but I mean, it's quite helpful in doing our job. So anyway, we'll just get on with it, I suppose. Here's Conway rolling it back to Angus Gunn. George Hurst battling away there, losing out in the end. And Fujita steps in to play it back to his goalkeeper. Tamaguchi playing it forward up towards the halfway line, nodded down by Ueda. Japan down the left-hand side here, looking to get the opening goal of the game here. It's a heavy touch, almost goalwards though by Mitoma, and it was Kenny McLean who got back. I'm not sure that was going to end up in the back of the net before McLean intervened, but he certainly wasn't taking any chances. Mitoma looked to have just overcooked his first touch, but he got to the second before Angus Gunn knocked it goalwards, but there was McLean to play it clear, and it remains Japan 0, Scotland 0.
Yeah, just seen a little replay of it here. I think it was going past, but Kenny McLean couldn't take any chances there. He had to, and really good work from the midfielder, I would suggest. Mitoma, the touch was a little bit heavy, but it still set it up for him, and if he's got that in target, it wasn't in target. But Kenny McLean there, you know, just to make sure that it wasn't going to cause Scotland any issues, but again, you know, Scotland looking a little bit open. I think because they're playing such a high line now, and they're working hard to close the opposition down, they are leaving little gaps at the back, space at the back for Japan to take advantage of.
Kieran Tierney about to come on for Andy Robertson. Billy Gilmour replacing Scott McTominay, his Napoli teammate here. So McTominay is certainly more influential in that second period. And he makes way for Billy Gilmour, who's one of a number of players for Scotland who've had something of a hiatus in mid-season because of injury, but back fully fit now, and I just wonder if that kind of break that some of them have had, John McGinn being another one, Billy, actually might do them some good when it comes to the World Cup.
Yeah, freshen them up. I can see the way you're thinking, Alistair. You'll be hoping that, because he played for Napoli the other night. It was excellent, Billy Gilmour. They would think the break would help them, and hopefully they stay injury free, because they're big players for us, Tierney and Billy Gilmour. So good to see them both available.
Yeah, Kieran Tierney, well, I'm not sure he's ever scored a more priceless goal than the one that went in to make it 3-2 here against the Danes. What a moment that gave us all watching that one. 71 on the clock, and it's still Scotland 0, Japan 0. And when these multiple substitutions start happening, it tends to kill any momentum we're getting in the second half. Certainly been livelier from Scotland, but we'll see if they can keep it up. Certainly Japan have made now 6 changes, 7 in fact, 3 at the break and then 4 there, so they'll do well to keep their rhythm, but they've been impressive, and it will be interesting to see how they fare. They're playing England actually on Tuesday down at Wembley before, as I mentioned earlier, kicking off the World Cup campaign against the Netherlands in Arlington, Texas, in Tunisia and Guadeloupe, and either Sweden or Poland back in Texas in their third game. Sweden or Poland playing in the playoff to see who takes that place at the World Cup. Scotland got themselves a free kick in a decent position here on the left-hand side, just about 38 odd yards from goal. 10 yards in from the left flank as Christie stands up to the back post. McLean rose there, but he was beaten in the jump by Tanaka, and it's going to go out for a throw and over on the far side to the Scots. Just in line with the 18-yard box. Goes back the way to McLean once more. Sends this one in towards Hurst at the edge of the box. He can't bring it under control. Japan able to get it clear, but picked up by Tierney into Christie. Christie tries to slide that through. Patterson won't reach it though, try as he might, and it's behind for the goal kick.
He's unlucky. You know, if he just takes a little bit off of that, you know, it's a wonderful pass from Christie, and you know, you can see the vision, you can see what he's trying to achieve, but you know, he's just overhit it a little bit. By far a better performance in the second half from Scotland, much more energetic, much more higher line as well, and a lot of belief too. But the first half was just so disappointing. It kind of lacked everything that the second half has been, you know, impressive with.
Japan play the ball out to this near side. Conway knocks it out of play before Ito, who passed up that good chance just a few minutes ago, before he can latch on to it. He is taking the throw in back the way. It's going to be another Japan throw midway inside the Scotland half. Just over a quarter of an hour left to play here at Hampden. Still goalless between Scotland and Japan as we play this first World Cup warm-up. Though, say first, it's not the first for Japan. They've been playing friendlies. They qualified back in March 25, the first of the non-hosts to clinch their qualification. And so they're going to be playing a series of friendlies recently to get themselves prepared for the tournament, looking to go beyond the last 16, which is where they've reached in the last two they've been to, losing out on penalties to Croatia in the last one, a game they very much felt they should have won. It's going to be a Japan free kick there for a challenge there by McKenna. The referee took a while to give that one, but in the end, points for the free kick, and it's a decent position this. Again, Junya Ito is over it, midway inside the Scotland half. Just in off the right of centre. An opportunity for Japan to try and tease the ball into the box here. Scotland trying to hold the line at the edge of the 18. 0-0 it stands as Ito curls it in towards that penalty area. Took a glance, I think, of a Scotland head, and it will trickle. I think it's stayed in play. It bounces off the corner flag and it's stayed in, but Patterson has failed to find a teammate with the ball as Japan pick up once more. That was an opportunity for Scotland to try and break, and Patterson's pass didn't find its target, so Japan have it once more. And that energy that we saw from the Scots at the outset of the second period is somewhat lost its way, and Japan again beginning to dominate as Ito has it, clips it down the flank for Doan. Doan in tightly marked by Conway, who's having to do more defending than attacking on that left flank over the course of the evening. Doan once more slides it through. It's a good ball. Seko gets the ball in, picked up by Doan. He's inside the penalty, trying to dance past the challenge of McLean, and it's blasted off him. And behind Tierney it was, who was on the cover, blasts it off Doan. And would you believe it, Japan are going to make another 3 changes. I mean, this is going to be virtually the full team they've replaced by the end of it.
Just about, I would suggest.
All the outfield players, certainly.
Yeah. But they began to take control again, haven't they?
Yeah.
Japan and Scotland have kind of dropped out of it. Doesn't have seemed to have affected them, the changes that they have made. Whereas the changes that Scotland have made haven't really gelled as yet. But still better in the second half. Still a way to go, I would suggest. But it's a very good side that you're playing against here, that's for sure.
Japan have it on the halfway line. Knock forward for Ito. That's a terrible challenge by Doan. That could be a red card. I think in any other game, that's a red. It's the yellow the referee's pulling out.
Yeah.
I think that was very high, and VAR are in operation here. Albeit you wouldn't know it because our screen's gone blank, but just to add to our woes. But the game's restarted. I think that was a really poor challenge as Scotland give the ball away and Japan try and break here. Tierney though intercept before Doan can latch onto it, plays it forward for Hurst. Hurst left hand side of the penalty area. Finds himself a yard around, blasts it to the side netting. So close to George Hurst opening the scoring there. But the Ipswich striker just getting his angles wrong and ripples the side netting. And it remains Scotland 0, Japan 0.
And he did really well, didn't he? I mean, I think the run was great in behind. The pass was good as well. And then he still had a lot of work to do. He had to kind of manoeuvre the defender, and he certainly did that. He's down the left-hand side. He dips his shoulder. Wrong foot, the defender. The only thing is, I think he's got to go for the far post. On that occasion, Dodgy, do you not think so? He
certainly
goes for the near post.
Yeah, certainly hit target. He's narrowing his angle there, but the shift hit was good. But once you shift, it's got to be target, or if you have composure, just try to bend it into that far corner. But just rushed it, dragged it, hit the side net, and goalkeeper was beaten as well.
Yeah, he did well, certainly to manufacture the space to get the shot away, but just failing to trouble the keeper in the end. And it remains goalless with just over 10 to play. It's Conway finding Gilmour. He's brought down. Now that's Doan again, who's I have to say lucky to avoid a straight red. I think because again it's a friendly, he'll escape a second yellow, but on another night in a competitive match that very much could have been a second yellow.
Yeah, and he's nowhere near it, is he? You know, the challenge, and it's one of these scissor challenge where one leg whips through the other one. So yeah, he's a bit fortunate, but as a friendly, maybe nobody's told him that it is a friendly.
Well, the big roar you hear is for the introduction and debut of the on loan Kilmarnock winger Finlay Curtis. And Tony Ralston's going to come on for Nathan Patterson. Conway is a man that's been replaced by Finlay Curtis, but a great moment for the young man, Billy, who obviously you know well these days.
Massive in it. I mean, the lad's he's a great lad. He's infectious. I know he's fitted right into the squad. If he gets a chance like Hurst got a minute ago, he loves that opportunity. He'll fashion a chance out it.
Scotland free kick cleared away as far as Christie, left hand side, slips it into Gilmour. In fact, Tierney at the corner flag, cuts it back. McKenna gets a touch on it. He was just trying to lay it into the path of a teammate, and no one could get a touch on it, and it's all the way through to Suzuki. So with 10 minutes left to play, still goalless. And Scotland still looking for that elusive first win in a decade in a home friendly. Can they find the goal in the closing stages to bring that their way? Suzuki has it in the Japanese penalty area. Picked up by Christie, who closed down quickly. Again, is more closing down by the Japanese substitute Shiogai. Tierney has it now left hand side for Scotland. 8.5 left to play. Gilmour's just knocked that straight out of play. Throw into Japan then on this right hand side. Played forward by Ito. Behind for a corner to the visitors. Scotland looking to ensure that if they don't win this, that at least they don't lose it. Lost their last home friendly to Iceland. They've kept a clean sheet so far. Gunn with a couple of decent saves. It's going to be Ito to take this one from the right-hand side. Outswinger here coming from the right-footed player onto the edge of the 6-yard box, and it's headed just wide from the centre-back. Taniguchi met it pretty well, but just beyond the post, and it remains goalless with just over 7 to play of the 90.
Maybe should have done better with that one, you know, because he got himself free. You know, he's got to try and glance it actually to hit the target. He gets maybe too much on it with the forehead, and it just slips by the post.
Here come Japan once more. It's into Shoga. It must be. It surely is. It is. The goal beyond Gunn. Well, we thought it's been on the cards, and it's Junya Ito, who should have scored maybe 10 minutes ago, who gets the break of the ball inside the penalty area, and Gunn was already diving to his left, and the ball maybe took a slight nick on its way through, and Junya Ito gets the goal that Japan have been searching for. And in 84 minutes it finally arrives. It is Scotland 0, Japan 1.
I think he's expected to go to his left, Gunn, Willie. He doesn't catch the strike properly. It's fed into the striker, laid off. Ito's on it. He drags it. It is a one-on-one situation. He kind of sclaffs it to the goalkeeper's right, but he's diving left. He tries to keep it out, and it just squirms over the line. Disappointing, you have to say. Good build-up from Japan, as they've done all game, but it's a poor goal to lose once it sclaffs in.
It's really good work down the left-hand side from Japan, isn't it? When it falls to Ito, he takes a little touch, which is great, but then it is just a sclaff, isn't it? And Angus Gunn's gone down expecting the good strike, and he's thinking it's going to go to his left-hand side. In fact, it comes off the kind of inside sclaff, not great pace on it, and by that time Gunn's down and it bounces off the goalkeeper into the back of the net. Otto gets a goal, but it was good build-up play, but maybe not the most precise finish, but ends up in the back of the net, and that's all that counts.
15th international goal for the Genk veteran, 33 now, Junya Ito, but he's been lively since he's come on, and he gets his goal to put the Scots behind, and now they're facing another home-friendly defeat despite an improved second half performance. Good feet there from Billy Gilmour. Now it's Tierney out to his left to Curtis. Curtis challenged and fouled by the goal scorer Ito. And it'll be a Scotland free kick left hand side, midway inside the Japan half, as they look to try and respond in the closing 5 minutes here and at least get themselves a draw. Billy Gilmour has moved the ball in a good few yards from the touchline, which is pretty much where the foul was made. So Scotland engineering a better position here. It's going to be Christie to take it in the end, left-footed from the left-hand side. Good ball in, headed clear as far as Gilmour. Gilmour, who's such a low scoring ratio. I'm not sure why he thought he would take that shot on from over 25 yards, and he gets it all wrong. Never set for the shot, regardless of how good a record he has in front of goal, and well wide of target in the end. 86 on the clock, Scotland 0, Japan 1.
No, it was a poor effort, wasn't it? I mean, he wasn't really in control of it. It didn't look as though his body language was confident that it was going to hit the target there, and Gilmour really just slashing at it, and disappointing finish to an opportunity that was kind of presented from the free kick.
Goal kick's taken long, nodded down by Hendry. It's out to Ito. Played right away to Taniguchi. Just a few minutes remaining here at Hampden. Scotland trail by a goal to nil. Junya Ito seen a lot of the ball since he's come on, including that solitary goal of the evening. Here he is once more, right hand side, gets it back from Doan, gets to the byline here. Well challenged though by Tierney, who can't keep it from going out for a throw in. So Japan will have the throw just a few yards from the corner flag on the right hand side. Japan, would you say, on the whole, good value for a narrow victory?
You would have to say it. So, I mean, Scotland's best chance obviously came early for McTominay. They've had a couple more, but they've worked their goalkeeper more than we've worked theirs, and they probably deserve their lead.
Scotland get the ball clear from the edge of the penalty area. Christie does well now, and then Gilmour. No foul by Doan on that occasion, and Japan pick up once more on the halfway line.
I think the first half was totally dominated by Japan, though, wasn't it? I think it's been a better performance from Scotland in the second, more even, but they've lost that goal, and the goal's been tested on a number of occasions. I think they're a very good side, Japan. You know, having watched them, watch their movement, watch their energy, the press that they employ as well makes it difficult for the opposition.
Ferguson's won it in the middle of the park, but then gives it away. And Japan pick up once more. Played out to this near side. Ito closed down by Curtis. Hasn't had too many opportunities to get on the ball as yet. 90 seconds remaining, plus any added on time. Scotland trailing by a goal to nil.
Could be quite a bit if they go by the rules with all the substitutes that's been made.
Yeah, well, we'll see how closely they stick to that as Japan coming forwards here. Ball through the middle, it's a good challenge. Comes in from McKenna, and then Tierney gets the header clear as Japan look to add to their advantage.
It's good positioning from Tierney because he had two options to deal with. He'd stayed out wide with his man, but he tucked himself in, saw the runner, I think it might have been Matomo, and he just managed to get there before him, and probably another goal for Japan.
It's the Japanese who are finishing the game the stronger of the two. Much as they started it, certainly in that first period, they were the dominant side. Very much look like they are going to see out the victory here as the Tartan Army begin to drift away into the Glasgow Knights. Japan in the back. Played it back to Suzuki, the only Japan player who started the game, who's going to finish it. So he knocks it long, looking for Mitoma. He's beaten the jump by Ralston. It's going to break there on that left-hand side for Christie. Not for long though, and it's good feet in the middle of the park. And Japan will come forward once more, looking to put the seal on their victory. It's charged down at the edge of the box. It's brave defending in the end. The referee's going to stop play. 3 minutes added on, but
what do you think of that, Al? 3 minutes for all those subs?
Yeah, that's obviously not strictly accurate, is it? Is it Ralston who got in the way of the shot there? He's back on his feet. It was typically brave defending from the Celtic fullback, standing up to the fierce effort which is struck at him from only a couple of yards away. But, Anthony Ralston's strong stomach muscles standing him in good stead there as that one rattled him from close range. Tierney plays it forward into Hurst. Looked like he was fouled, nothing given, and the referee gives the free kick Japan's way. I thought Hurst was the one who got the first infringement, but the free kick goes in Japan's favour. How would you sum up Scotland's overall performance, Billy?
I expected more. I mean, I'm not surprised because it is a friendly and all that pressure was taken off when we qualified against Denmark, but we expect a bit of urgency, energy. We've not really found a rhythm either. They've been a better team, Japan, but there are a couple of positives, like Finlay Curtis getting an opportunity, not really touched the ball yet. Conway getting a shot as well, but there's we struggle in friendlies. We struggle to find that intensity and effort and just energy about the game. It's been pretty flat. We've talked about the crowd quite a lot. I would have liked to have seen the boys right at it, bring the crowd into it, but that's not been the case today.
Kenny McLean winning a free kick in the middle of the park. It's quickly taken And then Curtis gets the break of the ball off Ito. Now he's dancing towards the edge of the box, but he's well challenged and loses out. And now it's Ito going the other way, powering forward down the Japanese right-hand side up towards the edge of the box. Plays the ball into the middle, looking for Ueda of Feyenoord, but he can't get onto it. It's a poor ball in truth from Ito. And just get seconds left really of the 3 minutes that were initially added on. Scotland look to be heading for another friendly defeat. It's going to be their 7th in the last 10 home friendlies. 3 draws since that win over Denmark, and there's the Australian referee's final whistle to confirm that. Scotland losing out to a late goal scored by Junya Ito on 84 minutes. His efforts from about 12 yards out, getting the better of Angus Gunn, who has already gone to ground, and the direction of the shot fooled him in the end and was unable to keep it out. Japan probably edging it over the course of the game anyway, but Scotland had opportunities of their own, not least in the opening minutes when McTominay had a shot somehow kept out by Suzuki in the Japanese goal, managing to force it onto the post and away to safety. Japan dominated the first half without being able to really test Angus Gunn, and Scotland improved after the interval. McTominay free kick was tipped over the top. Andy Robertson had a terrific running shot, well saved before George Hurst, on as a substitute, tugged a shot just wide from inside the box. But all that before Ito came on to score what proved to be the winning goal. So it is another home friendly defeat for the Scots, and plenty to mull over for Steve Clarke and his men before they head to Liverpool for Tuesday's friendly against Ivory Coast, which of course will be live with us all across BBC Scotland on Tuesday evening. But for now, at Hampden, it finishes Scotland 0, Japan 1.
On your radio.